Welcome back to White's Chapel Online. We are so glad that you've joined us as we've been talking about the past couple of weeks, centered around this metaphor of the table. While we've been filming here at the Palmer House in Fort Worth, it's an intentional communal living that has most of their interaction and meals taking place around a table. And so we've been looking at what does this metaphor mean for life with God, for life with other people, as we've seen that the table that God has set for us is a table of grace, that all are welcomed, that all can come, and that when we extend this invitation out to others, that we're to live out of generosity, and that life is much better shared, and it's better to give than to receive, and to live life with open hands and say everything that we have is a gift and we want to share it. Many of you this week will be celebrating Thanksgiving, this holiday that is really centered around a table with turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and family members and pumpkin pie, and it's just this way that we come together and we celebrate what we're thankful for, all the many ways that we've been blessed, that we have been taken care of, for provision, for relationships, and we gather around a table and with our family, our friends, people that are closest to us, and we celebrate through Thanksgiving. I'm sure your family has some different traditions for Thanksgiving. I know for me in the Craig house, we would get together every year, and sometime between the Cowboys game and lunch, we would make a list or have a pre-prepared list of things that we were thankful for. And we would share each one of us at the table, and we'd tell about the things of the year, the things that were meaningful to us, and all the things and relationships and different scenarios in which we were thankful for. And it was such a powerful time because whenever I started giving thanks for things and for people and for what had happened, good and the bad, it seemed like there was this great spirit of gratitude there, and it made the holiday much more meaningful. And so you combine that with a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, and there you go. It makes for a great day. And so I guess in thinking about this holiday and thinking about today, regardless of what your traditions are, the idea of thankfulness comes to mind. And the idea of gratitude is are we living lives as people that have gratitude in our hearts? Are we living lives as people that are thankful and grateful for all the ways that God has provided us in relationships and with deep, meaningful friendships and provision? Are we living lives full of gratitude? It's very easy with the way the world is right now to live a life of not being thankful, to live a life where we are constantly complaining, constantly grumbling, with the uncertainties of future, with the promises that might not have been fulfilled. It's very hard for us to be thankful. But on the flip side, it is crucial that we live lives full of gratitude amidst all types of things changing around us, amidst ups and downs, to be the people of God, to live life saying, all of life is a gift, and we're going to be grateful for it. I mean, many of you know ungrateful people. Maybe you're sitting right next to one. Maybe you are that person. You've been knocked down and beat up in life, and you've been dealt a bad hand, and maybe you're just ungrateful. I think many of us would say that we're very grateful people, but sometimes it can come across that we're ungrateful by not being able to communicate that gratitude. If you're to be honest, there's probably people in our lives that we all have in common that we can go, you know what? I could probably express gratitude to them just a tad bit better. We read our gospel reading for today. We come across an interesting story about someone who returned gratitude in such a way that it moved the heart of Jesus. So we see that in Luke chapter 17, 11 through 19, Jesus was on the way to Jerusalem, going through the region between Samaria and Galilee. As he entered a village, 10 lepers approached him. Keeping their distance, they called out, saying, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." When he saw them, he said to them, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were made clean. Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice. He prostrated himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, "Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Was no one found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then he said to him, "Rise and go your way. Your faith has made you well." Here in this story of Jesus healing these lepers, these people that were pushed out to the fringes of society where they were called unclean. They couldn't get near to people. They were isolated. They were basically considered outcasts, and they were worth nothing to the people of this day. Here Jesus healed 10 lepers. And what's interesting about the story is not the power of Jesus to heal lepers, because we've seen this before and we see how that he can do this, and that was part of why he came, is to heal people and to show God's power to the world around. But it's interesting here that one of the lepers came back and thanked Jesus. That 10 people were healed and one came back and said thank you. We see that one had a spirit of gratitude, that one realized how much had been given and how that he used to be part of this caste of society to where they were considered to be less than human, that they were considered to be, he had to stay away and they had to call themselves unclean. And here Jesus healed that person, restored them, and he came back and said, thank you. And I think Jesus asks a very poignant question when he says, were not 10 lepers healed? Yet only one came to give thanks. And so it's very similar to our situation where we don't live lives as ungrateful people. That if you were to ask many of us, say, are you grateful for what's going on? We'd say, yes, I'm very grateful. But are we the types of people that are expressing that gratitude in such a way like this leper that was healed? So in this story, we can find ourselves really resonating with a couple of different characters. And so I guess I would ask you, are you the returner in this story today? Are you living a life that's full of gratitude? As we think about Thanksgiving in this story and how it relates to us here and now, are there people in your life that you need to return to and say thank you? Maybe it's your life with God. Maybe it's, God, I've been oblivious to all the ways that you've blessed and provided for me and my family. And so I'm going to make a decision to return and say thank you, to be grateful. Maybe you're in a spot where it's very hard for you to communicate gratitude. And I found sometimes that unexpressed gratitude, really it almost communicates ingratitude. And the types of people that are around us that are constantly taking care of us and providing for us and meeting our needs, that if we don't communicate that gratitude to them, that it can communicate ingratitude. What about with your walk with the Lord? The Psalm says that we enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise, that there's something about gratitude that stirs the heart of God in such a way that it gets his attention and pleases him. And it's almost as if us as children saying, God, thank you. Thank you for the good. Thank you for the bad. Thank you for what I've been through. Thank you for, I don't really know what's going to happen in the future, but thank you in advance. Maybe we could get to the place where Job said, God gives and God takes away, but blessed be God's name. That regardless of what it is, God, thank you. Or Paul, he's able to go, I've found the secret of what it is to be in need. I found the secret of what it is to be content. Either way, I give gratitude and thanks. And so maybe this season during Thanksgiving, maybe it's time for you just to live back a life of gratitude to God. Maybe in our prayer time, instead of giving God our laundry list of needs and wants, we're able to say, God, thank you, praise you. You are good. You are great. You're greatly to be praised, even though I might not be able to see it right now. Thank you for what you brought me from. Thank you for what you're bringing me to. God, thank you that we could be the returners in our relationship with God. And maybe this story teaches us that regardless of what might happen or what has happened, that being a returner stirs the heart of God. It's something about when Jesus is noticing that one person came back, that could be us. That there's an advantage to it. That's how life is supposed to be lived, as we have thankfulness and gratitude to God and thankfulness and gratitude to others. That maybe instead of our complaining or our bickering or our gossip, we could replace that with gratitude. So what would it look like for you individually, as a family, as a community, say we are going to be a community of returners? We're going to realize that all of life has been given to us as a gift, that we've been provided for, that we've been taken care of, that the grace of God is in such a way that at our table, we're going to be people that are returners of gratitude. And that when you commune with us, when you interact with us, when you come to this table, we're going to be grateful that you're here, grateful that you came, and grateful that God is up to work in doing something in your heart just like us. To give thanks to God in such a way that it spills out to give thanks with others. Or maybe the challenge is this: what would it mean for us to live lives as a thank you note to God? God, you have provided for me and been there for me, so I'm going to live life as a thank you note back to you. I think my fear and our fear is that we walk around with a lot of unsigned thank you notes in our back pocket. People that we would acknowledge that they have been there for us and taken an extra step, and that we owe them a debt of gratitude. But so far too often we don't sign the note. And so maybe this week we go and we say, okay, we're going to be human thank you note signers. And we're going to go and sign up all these thank you notes for all these people that have been there and taken care of it. We're going to have a spirit of gratitude. And so don't let Thanksgiving slip by amidst all the football and the celebration and the traditions to not embrace a spirit of gratitude. And find people this week, it might be your closest family members or friends, that you might not have communicated gratitude to them in such a way, but communicate to them. So that it can be said of us that as returners of gratitude, that when people came to our table, they were received and met with gratitude.